Hello, everyone, once again. This is Rob, and welcome back to Media Awareness and my continuing coverage of The Wheel of Time, Season 2. To see my coverage of episodes 1 through 3, you can see my video in my videos. On that, they premiered on the same day, so therefore I put them all in one video. I do have some additional thoughts I'm going to share on those based on some of the comments I received, both here on YouTube as well as privately on Facebook. But that aside, this episode is probably gonna this edition of my video is probably going to cover mainly episode 4 in its entirety, um, as briefly as I can. Before I get to that, though, just a quick reminder: the fundraiser continues. For those of you unaware, I am a disabled individual, and I use a motorized wheelchair slash scooter all day, every day for my independence. And although many of these significant goals have been met in terms of sustaining my health, well-being, and safety, there are still concerns with some of the parts malfunctioning, and they can ultimately be detrimental to my everyday functioning in my life independently. Therefore, I'm still asking for your help. You can contribute to the Spot Fund account below. It's very easy to do. I'm only asking for $10 a person. If you can do more, that's great, but $10 does go a long way and adds up very quickly. So I do want to thank those of you in advance who do plan on contributing, as well as those who have already contributed. Your contributions have made a world of difference in my life, and I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. So here we are on episode 4 of The Wheel of Time. Now, before I get to this, though, uh, I had some comments on the first uh, 3 episodes that I covered in the previous video. And they were rather insightful thoughts, I will definitely say, uh, regarding Nynaeve particularly, and her going through the test to become accepted at the White Tower of Tarvalon. And it really, I feel like the comments actually really helped my perspective on that. And it brought more into focus her personal struggle in terms of turning her back on the life that she saw uh, as being the ideal life for her in her mind and in this test, and being essentially forced to escape or basically leave that life behind due to what was occurring within that vision itself, and the violence that was ensuing within that, which was taking those that she loved from her. So she is permanently scarred, I think it's safe to say. And, no, they say no one's the same once you go through the test, and I feel that that's definitely the case with Nynaeve. And, having that, basically living out a life in there with Lan and with her friends and raising a child. I mean, she basically lived within there. And we don't know how much time necessarily passed. We can only presume that it was as if time itself within the test was real time. And she experienced it as real time. Whereas outside the test, it was just our measure of time, basically. Moving on from there, though, I want to get to episode 4 because a lot happens in episode 4, and it's a lot that is sort of just alluded to in the books to some degree, and in some cases it's actually very accurate to what occurs in the books. One gripe I do have, I do feel that we at the beginning of episode 4 we see Ishmael setting free Lanfear, the Forsaken, and I love the way it's done. I think it's done beautifully. I think it's done really. It looks amazing, and it's one of those instances where they really captured that moment and the essence of setting her free. Now, my problem though is that it it's done at the beginning of episode 4, and if you're really paying attention, you know it's hinting at something within the context of the episode, and it's going to occur within the episode. What I would have done personally is I would have stuck that scene as it is as the cold opening of season 2, just to kind of give you that, like, what did I just see? Only to have the actual plot thread of that addressed in episode 4. Because, I mean, it is uh, a continuing story. So to have it addressed several episodes later would not be too far removed, and it would definitely add to the mystery more so. Whereas it kind of gives away, in my opinion, who this individual is. That's just my opinion. That being stated, like I said, I love the way it was done, and you're skipping around here, which I kind of have to do as the episode did itself. We have Nynaeve being made aware by Leandrin that uh, her friends are basically here, and um, basically alluding to the fact that she's going to go after them. And Nynaeve uh, tells them this, and Egwene and Elaine just decide to uh, basically go with this, only to be confronted by Leandrin in the, I guess, catacombs, you could say, below the White Tower itself, trying to escape the White Tower to get out of Tar Valon and um, uh, be able to track down their friends and help them. That doesn't happen. They are essentially stopped by Leandrin, but I do like the way all of that was set up and done, and I like how they show Nynaeve uh, and Egwene, their friendship sort of struggling initially. And this has been a constant for the first 3 episodes. And finally, here in episode 4, we get some resolution to that. We get an embrace of the two, and Lenny does cave in and does embrace Egwene, and it's a moment that we needed to have that friendship sort of rekindled after, especially after the test that Nynaeve endured, but also for Egwene to recognize that she didn't lose her friend, that her friend is still there. She's just been through a lot more than Egwene could even comprehend at that point in time. So that's interesting to me. And I do like getting to see even more of the White Tower, which I think is really wonderfully done in this particular show. It's really realized very well, in my opinion. And I do like the way all of that is sort of arranged and set up, and you really start to get more insight into Leandrin in this episode as well, and Leandrin's motivations and where she lies, where she is on the scale of good and evil, and where she is in terms of the sisters themselves. For those of you who have read the books, um, you're obviously a lot more informed uh, than those who haven't. Now, I have read the book, so I know where things are going. I cannot help but love Leandrin. I don't know why. I'm really attracted to that sort of just, I don't know, mystical yet almost evil, but for her own uh, well-being and those of whom she actually really cares for, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just strangely attractive, but I digress. um, from let me skip to Matt and Min, because we don't really get a lot of Matt's screen time yet. And of course, Matt and Min are in a pub, which is very stereotypical for Matt, and gambling. And Min has a vision of Ishmael basically tempting her as far as taking away her ability to see visions of what is going to happen to people. And you can see where that can be a really, really tempting offer if this is something that you have basically gone through your entire life. I appreciated that. I really did. And I know I'm jumping around, but I wanted to save some of these plot lines, uh, which is why I'm going in the order I'm going in. So now we move on to Perrin. And I love Perrin. I do. And I I have to say that Hopper is adorable, and I just love that connection that is being forged there, and it's touching, and to to have uh, to have Perrin basically see a sort of waking dream of what Hopper sees in terms of his lost love is really touching. It's something I can personally relate to in my life as well. But it's really a touching moment, and uh, it makes me love both Perrin's character as well as Hopper all the more, and Perrin having gone through what he's gone through in this particular iteration of the Wheel of Time, having lost his wife by his own hand, makes it all the more impactful, in my opinion. So there's that. And we move on now to Moraine. And a lot of people had problems with this. I didn't. Moraine visiting her sister. The one problem I did have is one that Daniel Green at Fantasy News had as well, and I totally agree with him, that they really, really overstressed the fact that she was visiting her younger sister, and her younger sister is clearly looks a lot older than her, to sort of emphasize that the Aes Sedai age at a much slower pace than the average human does. You know, the sister knows how to get what she wants as well, which is time with Moraine. And I think it all really works really well in the context of the episode and showing the family and showing how she has veered away from and basically ignored her family for the Aes Sedai and for her life as an accepted as part of the Blue Aja and just part of the Aes Sedai in general. It makes a lot more sense to me with with how it was done, and I liked the way it was done. So then we have Moraine visiting Logain and offering him wine, and he just kind of swipes the glass away, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. He's asked if he's been training the boy, as she says, and he just kind of shrugs that off and is very. His character is developing well, I think, and I like the way that they're doing that with Logain, and they're building his growth in this. Um, it's definitely coming about rather well in my opinion, and him saying that Rand, admitting I should say that Rand has as much power as he had, is really another thing that was definitely impressive. We move on then in my chronology to Salim and Rand. And first we have Rand helping to rebuild the inn that he burned down, basically, by overexerting the one power and not realizing what he had done. Uh, and her sort of saying she has men that are going to have everything rebuilt and have the foundation done, and he doesn't have to stay there. He can come with her, and she wants to go up to the mountains, and he's reluctant, but she talks him into it, and I'm going to say that the dynamic between Lan and Salim is something that is done, in my opinion, very well. There is, and I know Daniel Green, Fantasy News, said as much as well on this. Basically, Lan might not love Salim, but he, in his early 20s, has that sort of respect and admiration that is equivalent to love for him, because she is the first person that ever showed him acceptance and love, at least what he perceived as love, for who he is, and not for anything else, just for the average person he is. She was very candid with him about that. Uh, there are some moments that really are done well with that, and I do like the fact, even more so now, that we have this age jump with the characters from the book to the series, as we get the sexual tension then between Salim and Rand. I'm sorry, and Rand. And when Rand is confronted by the Fade and summons the One Power and deals with the Fade, Selene, backs off, and as one would, predictably, and Rand's like, listen, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm going to learn, if I need to, I'll leave. But I care about you. I love you. Blah blah blah, and the whole interplay works brilliantly, in my opinion. I love it. I absolutely love it. And having them about to be intimate with each other and having her tie him to the bed and basically say that she's going to reveal herself to him. At that point, I was like, oh God, oh no. And knowing that she is Lanfear and Moraine basically skewering her, for lack of better words, and dealing with her, and Rand's reaction, Rand's reaction, rather, to this occurring, being very Rand, being very, he's in the moment, he's blinded by this woman that he thinks saw him for who he is and accepted him for who he is, when in fact she's one of the Forsaken and just there to play him and deal with him. And I love the way that was done. I love how Moraine and Rand interact, and how Rand basically, uh, you know, relents and looks at Moraine and realizes, hey, she's right. I'm definitely not right, basically. And even though he might have regrets, he, I think deep down he knows that she's not going to steer him wrong. As they run off at the end. And I really think that it works very well. A lot of people had issue with this. I don't. And uh, I think that the reveal of Selene being Lanfear, and the reveal happening when it did is brilliant, because it gave you that sort of uh, slow build of, okay, these two have been together for a while now. And as I stated in my previous uh, review of episodes 1 through 3, a full year had passed since they began their journey. It was Beltane when they started, and then in season 1, it was Beltane again. Beltane happened once a year at the beginning of May. So, for those of you unaware. So that, for me, really gave that relationship a lot more depth by itself, having that off-screen character development, character bonding, and character growth, which is rare in TV today. We tend to have everything spelled out for us. And I don't think it's always necessary. I really don't. And I think in this case, it was nice to have it just alluded to, having it alluded to in the sense that, okay, it's Beltane again in the first couple episodes. At the end of the first episode, I believe, yeah, the end of the first episode, we find out that it's Beltane again. So it brings things full circle to the beginning of season 1 and when things started for these characters. And knowing that, and knowing that Nynaeve and Egwene have been in the White Tower for as long as they have been. Also, with Elaine saying, making some comments to Egwene about her having moved in uh, recently, and that interplay between the two of them, that also adds a lot to, oh, she hasn't moved in a lot, but she doesn't have as much stuff because she's not royalty, basically. So, that was also kind of cool in my opinion. Uh, and I really liked the way it was all played out. So I'm looking forward to episode 5 of the Wheel of Time Season 2. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you have any. You're also welcome to shoot me a message privately via the Facebook link in the description below as well. It can be found below the Spot Fund account link. And there's a Patreon link there too. There's the Amazon Media Awareness Wish List. There's a lot of links in my description. I apologize. I just got a little link happy. But it was a pleasure being able to bring you this review of episode 4 of the Wheel of Time Season 2. And I hope this wasn't extensively long or too long for you. As I said previously, please leave comments if you have any, and your thoughts or feelings and perspectives on things I've covered. This is Rob with Media Awareness. I will see you all again soon. Have a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.